Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to James and Flab for Now with me, James, and Will. What are you doing here?
Well, Tottenham Hotspur tonight, this evening, are playing Glimt. Who, do you know how small time? Do you know, I've never been more rattled, and this comes out, so after the result, you'll know by the time you're seeing this, if you're watching it on James's channel, you'll know that the result already happened and Spurs are either through to the final of the Champions League, Europa League, or we've been knocked out by a team that no one knew existed about 3 weeks ago. Until they were drawn against Spurs, no one had heard of Glimt.
Yeah. Well, okay, so with this in mind...
And I don't know why I'm suddenly pronouncing it properly.
Yeah.
Why am I doing that?
How are you saying it? Glimt.
I think they're making me respect them. That's the thing. Glimt.
I saw something in the first leg that you shouldn't see. You're 2-0 down, and I think it was before... Were you 2-0 up at half-time?
Yep.
You were 2-0 up at half-time, and then it cut to Glimt. Is that how you say it?
Something like that.
Yeah, Glimt fans. And there was just like two guys going.
They think.
And I was like, no, don't do that at the football. You just don't do that.
Well, hang on a second. This is because they're relaxed, right? It's almost like they've got our number. This is what it feels like. And we'll find out tonight, so it'll be interesting. But it's almost like they've got our number, Jim. It's almost like they're saying, don't worry, because you know we're playing on a plastic pitch.
Okay, well, that's what's sensational about, and also kind of annoying about the pod today. So, as you know, we are together, apparently for the first time in 5 years, doing it live with our sluggies. Sounds weird. And we're going to do the mailbag straight after, which, again, you guys, if you're not Moist Slugs, you're missing that. But we are in this sort of, you're in this cul-de-sac of possible hubris, where if it goes wrong, then it's not going to feel good, especially with some of the topics we'd like to discuss today, which the main one being Arsenal and... factually accurate, a trophyless season.
Oh yeah.
And so how is there an appraisal of, first of all, the kind of performance, and then second of all, the malaise around it? So I watched the game on the train last night and wasn't able to do a video this morning, which I kind of wanted to do. And it's one of those ones where, like, has time gone too far now to do like a whole tactical analysis of it? But I do have several thoughts on the game. But what I sort of noticed from hearing from different people was there was like a confusion and anger, but for different reasons based on if you're an Arsenal fan or if you were a fan of... I think Liverpool seem to have gone quite hard on them. Spurs will naturally go hard on them as well. Man United fans seem to be quite enjoying it as well. And it was based around the fact that I think the coverage seemed to be quite empathetic. And Arsenal, actually, if you kind of look at the stats of the game, I think their XG was like 3.85 or something.
Yep.
And PSG at home, where they've destroyed, really, maybe not goal score wise, but performance wise, destroyed Liverpool and destroyed Aston Villa.
Yep.
And Arsenal had the better of the game, yet they've obviously gone out, and then on top of that, Arteta's made some kind of bullish comments. So I think there's like a Venn diagram of like, you've not won anything. How are you being so bullish? And also, like, why are you getting so much, like, why is everyone being so kind to Arsenal when ultimately they failed?
Yeah. And then in the middle of all that is the nucleus of the hate that people feel for the football club. Just right there. All of that, that Venn diagram.
Can someone draw this Venn diagram? Because I'm not sure it works. But go on.
Look, if you're being completely honest, right, Spurs hat off, Arsenal did a good job. They were unlucky. And over 2 legs, were they the better team? Probably not, but I don't think there's much in it, and it depends on what you like. But the first 15 minutes of this game, Arsenal could have legitimately had 3 goals.
Yep.
Like, Donnarumma made 2 massive saves.
The Odegaard save. The Odegaard save is... I was on the train, and I made a weird sound.
Yeah.
Got some funny looks.
Yeah, and
we can talk about my train journey, actually, later in the pod if you want.
Oh, yeah,
a woman said hello to me. I found it incredibly unnerving.
What, attractive lady? Or I mean, not that it matters. Doesn't
I think she thought she was attractive. One of those.
Isn't that really attractive?
No.
No?
No. I'll save that for later. We'll talk about that later on.
I quite like I like a person. It doesn't have to be a woman who has an energy where they're not arrogant, but they've. Because the thing is Arteta. You know, he thinks he's good looking. That's
Do
the
you
problem.
think that?
Yeah, I think Arteta, that's why everyone hates him, thinks he's a knob.
I think much like the Arsenal squad he's built, the sort of the floor of his knowledge of his attractiveness, he knows is quite high.
Yeah, but he's also one of them people you think like in a group, a friendship group, you're thinking, does he know he's a dickhead? Like we know he's a dickhead. Do you know what I mean? We know he's a dickhead, like, but he's our dickhead, and so we'll protect him.
Do we have any Arsenal moist slugs? Are you aware of the fact that Arteta? See, I'm not sure I totally agree with that.
Right. Okay, that's fine.
Do you think that Arteta's a dick, but he's your dick?
Yeah, and there's and the thing is, like Maz is an Arsenal fan, right? I think that he's a dickhead, and I don't think he realizes he's a dickhead. Like when he drew that thing on the board about the heart and the heart and the brain holding hands, and you're thinking, if I'm sitting there in a meeting and my manager does that, I'm like, oh my god, he's lost it. He's lost it.
It's dangerous.
But weirdly, if you're in a room full of dickheads, they all believe that that's good. So perhaps he's cultivated.
I feel like your bias is screaming through here.
Right, fair play. I just wondered how many dickheads you can put in a room without and not know that there's any dickheads there.
So, like, sort of dickhead to player ratio. Would you think? Would you say Arsenal got the most?
I actually think this is weirdly. I think this is.
Mazza says, "I can't wait till Spurs lose."
Okay.
This is what I mean. This is you got to be. I don't know what the analogy is, but you got to be aware. You are literally leaving this place to go to the deep breath you just take to go to a social event arranged by yourselves that you've created with 350 Spurs fans.
Yeah,
congratulations by that. That's very cool. But in a game that you absolutely cannot. You can lose it. Don't go out. You can't go out because it's going to be.
Mate, do you think I've not been here before? Yeah. Do you not think I know that? Do you not think I know all of this stuff?
Have you ever had it that? Would it be? Has it ever been as bad as that though? Because like Champions League final, it was like, well, you were underdogs. Kane wasn't fit. Blah blah blah. League Cup final. Ryan Mason's the manager. Like it's all a mess in terms of being the favourites and having the advantage. Did you have the moment when, and again, obviously this is going to age well or bad, but when it was 3-0 and then the goal went in?
Yeah,
you were like,
yeah, of course. I thought, they come. And then obviously the ball goes across the Saka and he's missed it. And he's probably put off by the goalkeeper. We talking about the same thing?
No, I was talking about Bodo Glimt last week.
Yeah.
Them getting a goal.
Yeah, right. Okay. So yeah, then getting a goal, I did think we didn't need that. But last night when Arsenal scored, on Wednesday night, when Arsenal scored and then they had another big opportunity, Saka missed it. Yeah. I'm thinking that's in, and if that goes in, all of the momentum is in Arsenal's favour, and they get through. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I really, really don't want that. And so what you're asking me is, and what people are saying, and Mazza's saying, like, should I not, and should Spurs fans and other fans not go big because we've got this game on the horizon? This game happened last night. Shouldn't I have gone big? No. Don't back down. Double down.
Get it in.
Double down.
Sneak it in.
What's the worst that's going to happen, right? If Spurs have lost, if I'm sitting here and it's Friday and Spurs have got beat by Bodo Glimt and I'm like, how has this happened? Well, Spurs have sort of happened. I get it.
Yeah.
What have I got to contend with? Some people I don't know on the internet having a go at me? Or do I live in this at the moment, unbridled optimism and enjoyment because Arsenal have been knocked out? Look at the difference between them, really. If you look at it, Arsenal season, sensational, really moving in the right direction. Got a board and owners that understand how to deliver success, even if they haven't quite managed it yet. You've got a manager who's clearly good enough, one of the best in Europe. And you've got some really amazing players there. Declan Rice, Saka, especially Saliba as well, right?
That Declan Rice tackle, by the way.
Yeah, incredible. Like, David Raya, you've got one of the best goalkeepers in Europe. All of these amazing things. Spurs have got a 16th in the league and could have last night gone out to Bodo Glimt, right? There are different levels to this. So don't, at this stage, that's where we're at. We are miles behind them.
Yeah. It's a great example of the power of the result, regardless of the competition. Like, the power of the result is king, which I know that sounds really obvious. But like coming back to Arsenal, that's how I think where there's the confusion there. And I might do a video on it, but like what I found from that game, it could have been so different. And Arteta made a couple of interesting points. He made one point saying that scoreline didn't reflect the two performances.
It doesn't matter though. That's bullshit. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. The other thing, well, I think it's true.
It's true, but it doesn't matter.
And you're never
going all the time. In football. So it doesn't matter.
But also, you're never going to get luck. Is going to play a part, but you can move the needle in your favour.
Is that right?
You can move the needle in your favour.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more if you have the parts that you need. And what I find really interesting is that it's such a nuanced point in the fact that Arsenal came out really strong. Timber playing higher up, pressing high, keeping them in was absolutely the right thing to do. They squeezed that pressure on them. They had the chances. Donnarumma's made some outrageous saves to Saka, to Martinelli, to Odegaard in the first half again. But so what I do is when I kind of sit and think about it, the conclusion I end up arriving to with this when I was watching that game yesterday, and there are two things can be true, because there are moments when Arsenal are pressing and squeezing the game and they're not able to get out, there are bodies in the box, right? And Arteta said another thing. He said, the game at this level is about the two boxes, right? Yeah. And he was kind of referring to Donnarumma, I think. But my take on it is that when they're squeezing the team into their final third, there are people in the box. There's Marino in the box, and there's Thomas Partey's gone and made a run, and Declan Rice has got in there as well. You've got those kind of bodies in the box. But at the highest level, when it is so fine and it is about the boxes, that as personnel in the box is not the players that you want in there.
No.
And then when you look at it from like a transition point of view, because sometimes you need to be able to win the ball, which they're great at, Arsenal, like probably the best defensive unit in the world, alongside Inter maybe, but obviously they've had a crazy game. But then win the ball and then go in transition. There's nobody in the middle, which I find crazy, and it makes it easier for the opposition to survive. That Saka chance, the goal and the chance came from a 5-minute spell where Saka went and played essentially as a centre forward.
Yeah, he did.
So it all comes back, after all I've just said there as a nuanced rant, they need a striker. So after all the discussion, you come back to it. They need that guy that when they are pressing and dominating, they've got a guy who's calm in the box and fine in the box.
Would Ollie Watkins have won them those games? Because that's who they wanted, right?
Very possibly. And yeah, I think you talk about obviously like PSG bringing in Kvaratskhelia and him being the difference. I'm not comparing the two as players, but in terms of like having that additional point to the arrow at times in transition, instead of you get the ball, Rice gets the ball, he drives, he looks in front of himself, his options are there. And also those players don't really make those darting runs like a Sadio Mane would. So you're always going away from goal as opposed to going towards the goal. But again, I think with that, the final thing I would say is it is undeniable that they need a striker, and therefore, they will do that, either if it's Isaka or if it's Watkins or if it's Retegui or if it's whoever it might be. And I think that the final conclusion for me is that it's so obvious that is what's needed just to be that final piece. But it also means for me, next year they will win the Premier League or the Champions League, in my opinion.
I think Man City come back. This is the problem, Arsenal fans. I think this is part of the reason why they're having such a meltdown, and not all Arsenal fans, but a lot of them. The meltdown comes from the fact that this was a massive opportunity. Inter in the final is delicious for Arsenal. I know, I get it, they're well organised, it doesn't matter, right? If you use an opportunity there, massive opportunity. PSG, I mean, it's going to be a fascinating final regardless.
I don't know about that with the Inter thing, by the way, because I thought, again, to the point of not having a striker, right? PSG ended up playing like a back six at times because they knew that Arsenal wanted to go out wide, but then they needed their bodies in the box for when Declan Rice and Marino and these 6'2" guys arrived. If Arsenal had gone through and played Inter Milan, a similar thing probably would have happened because they play with a back five and they've got three big centre backs. So that might have negated that side of Arsenal.
I mean, what actually would have happened, it doesn't matter. The fact is, Arsenal fans think that this, and they're probably right, that this was a great opportunity to win the league and the Champions League. And they haven't done both of those things. The question is if they...
How much of a difference would Havertz have made, do you think?
I think massive. Last night, not a great deal.
He would have moved the needle in their favour, but not as much as a striker that is like, I love chilling in the box and scoring goals.
Yeah, maybe like a who would have Chris Wood. Chris Wood have. I don't know if he'd have got in the positions, but he would have.
There's loads of strikers, like, and no one's like. But there's a few, like obviously Lewandowski, Kane, all those players.
It wasn't last night. I don't think actually, when you think about it, was about having a number 9, right? I think last night was they were just unlucky. Like another case, those goals go in.
They were unlucky, but some of those chances, I just think that's the difference. Is that PSG, you have the ball drops to Fabian Ruiz, who no one talks about in terms of scoring goals, but in that moment is able to show utter quality and score the goal. And then the second one is Hakimi, who has this like, and the whole PSG team has this like fearless roaming where he can start as a right back. So your right back is going to make his way and then decide, I'm going to come into the center of the pitch, and then I'm just going to put it in that corner. Like at this level, it is cruel, but at this level, you have to have so many goals knocking about, because goals equal answers. Like it doesn't matter if Arsenal dominated it in terms of like having in that moment the ability to take the chance against the best goalkeepers. You have to be outrageously good at scoring goals and have those players like just littered throughout your team. Nuno Mendes has scored how many goals? Like 5 goals or something. Arsenal don't have that. That's the problem.
And this is the thing: is that what Luis Enrique has done with that side? He's easily the most exciting coach in Europe. I don't know if he's the best. If he wins the Champions League, by de facto he is, I guess. But he's just so exciting what he's done with that group of players. And that there's that famous clip of him with Mbappe just destroying him basically in a kind way. It was almost like, you're going to take this message and how you react about it is up to you. And inevitably he lost. There was times when Mbappe was unhappy at PSG. It might have been around that period where Luis Enrique's come in and gone, we're not suffering you, right? Either you play this way or you're going to be gone. At a time where Mbappe's been reported to be the power broker in the entire club.
But that in itself is ridiculous, isn't it? Now?
Yeah, it's a mockery. He made them. Yeah. It is ridiculous because they've seen that Luis Enrique, under a regime whose understanding of football is probably a little bit different to what traditionally you'd expect, given the fact that it's Qatari backed, right? They tried the Galactico thing by bringing in Neymar, Messi, and keeping them and Mbappe, right? And what they've actually done is gone, we're still going to buy, but you can decide on what you want and how to do it. And what is a young squad full of incredibly talented players is actually a unit of players that seemingly will die for each other on the pitch. They will run themselves into the ground. And that whole thing, like talent, that sort of hard. Was it talent beats hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard?
Yeah.
Right.
Thank God.
He's got an abundance of talent that will work their arse off.
Yeah, as well. Also, like when Arsenal had momentum. Because I think there's so many positives for Arsenal from that game. One question for the chat, for our moisties. Answer me this. What percentage of that game of Arsenal going out was luck? And what percentage, but luck and Donnarumma, and what percentage of it was some form of Arsenal failing at some stage? I'd be intrigued to know what people think in terms of their percentages on that. But yeah, this PSG team, like we put a video a while back, kind of, because what you could see was everything you need, I think, to break and win, games against the best teams. They have it, and it's. I think Mike Keane described it as like road runners, and it's a good way of describing it. Like, you got all these players who can dribble with the ball. Do you know Hakimi's got this like? Have you seen his like head touch? Like when the ball's bounced around, he just goes, and then he's on his way.
Yeah, Kyle Walker used to do it running at a pace. Really? I don't think it's something they train.
But the ability to drive with the ball or dribble in tight areas, what that does is, one, it takes players out of the game in transition. But two, if Arsenal have got that kind of momentum, if you just dribble with it for a bit, you can get yourself out of a nook and keep the ball for a bit and deaden that momentum of the opposition, and then on top of that, go and get goals when you need goals. They're really good.
Jim, I think we can ask a question, right, about the Gremlin. He needs to go. Like, he needs to go, right? Because if you look at his efficacy, they're conceding set pieces more regularly than anybody else in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Right, that's one part of his job.
It's got to go.
Right, now
Why are you campaigning for a man sacking?
Just because he's the most irritating person in the history of the game. Look, every single time he comes out, he's like, get to fuck. Do your drills on the training pitch. Do them on a training pitch.
He has to go tonight, says O'Hayrad.
Yeah, absolutely. He
What's worse? Him stepping up.
What? They're not looking at him. They're not fucking.
But he knows they're looking at him. He knows the cameras are on him. He knows that. He goes home and he's like 3 times speed and waiting for his face. Stop.
Yeah.
So what's worse in terms of validating your existence as a set piece coach, especially when he's essentially probably been told to, because he obviously needs permission to stand there, right? So do you stand up and go and just wait and keep yourself still? Or do you show that you're working in some way and do the hand gestures and all that stuff?
James,
which way's the best way to go? I don't know.
Is stay out of the limelight, sit your ass on the bench and just be quiet and stop moving. That's what as a striker's coach, every time the ball goes forward, does he come out and go like that? Yeah. Does your defensive coach or goalkeeper coach have a word with the goalkeeper when there's penalties? When he's facing a free kick? No, it's weird. They've created this theatre around this guy to the point where Arsenal fans are painting murals on the wall as a dedication to him. Have you not seen this?
No, that's got. That's surely a joke, isn't it?
No. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think is happening? I'm going to show you right now. It ain't a joke.
Let me give you some percentages, guys, from our beloved Moist Sluggies. If you want to become a beloved Moist
I'll
Sluggy.
give you a percentage. Before you move on, I'll give you a fucking percentage. 48% of their goals have conceded from set pieces this year.
Is that true?
The fact is that set pieces aren't working anymore. They're not scoring from anymore. Gabriel got injured, so it's more about his heading ability.
But they concede less than anyone else, don't they?
So
that might affect that percentage.
They concede. I don't know. Maybe.
So if you concede 2 goals a season. And one of them's a set piece, 50% of your goals, isn't it?
Who cares, James? Right? What we should care about now is they've added throw-ins to their repertoire.
There was a lot of throw-ins.
Mate. Hang on. So the comparisons to Stoke City are fair then, right? If it's all about throw-ins and crossing and free kicks.
And
I don't blame them, all right? Because they're looking at something, they've trained something, and it works, James, right? And it's working for them.
A prominent figure in the world of football messaged me something. I'm just going to get it up on WhatsApp.
Okay.
And I'm intrigued to get your take on that.
You can't just get away with doing these tactics and people not to be critical. I'm sorry.
Interesting. Okay, so first of all, percentages, right? So, 15% luck, says George Pena. Jasper of Plymouth Argyle fame says, genuinely, I'd say 80% Arsenal failure. Rob Turner says 77% Luckarama, 23% Arteta. Jonathan Cohen says 30% luck, 70% Arsenal. Tom Sutel says 30% luck, 70% failure. I thought that's interesting. Alex says 65% failing, 45% luck. Mazza, resident Arsenal fan. We're looking for more Arsenal fans if you're brave enough. 20% luck, 80% Arsenal. Oh. Okay, let me show you this comment. Don't say the person who it is.
Just while you're looking for it, do you know who else? Do you know what they're calling Arteta? Arteta choke.
Like artichoke.
Yeah.
Right. That's good. And are they going to do Angie choke if it goes wrong tonight?
I think by finishing 16, you could say he's already choked.
Costa Chokely. Let's see.
Yeah, good.
So, person who won't be named. At times, it was like watching Stevenage, by the way. If Man United or Spurs were sending long balls into the box, it would have been criminal. But Arsenal's set-piece coach means it's fine.
Is that?
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
Thoughts? Off the record.
Oh, this is exciting because we don't realise how big time James is when you're looking at his WhatsApp.
Don't give it away.
This is a prominent figure. Okay, I'm not going to give it away.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Yeah.
George Pena says doesn't really work, Jim. You're Spurs, aren't you?
Yeah,
clearly Spurs.
It is, yeah.
What you also wanted to talk about I think what's really interesting with this Arsenal is is how much footage there is to use on Twitter once. I've watched in the last 24 hours. And it's amazing how differently it hits. The Anne Hathaway. That is honestly one of the most. I don't think there's anything. Okay, let me know. Send me links in the comments down below. Is there a more cringeworthy footballing thing than Anne Hathaway singing that song.
Yeah, perhaps not, but I've got something that rivals it right now for you. But I'm going to send it to your WhatsApp.
Okay. By the way, the things like this is the problem as well, right?
Can you play this after?
What in it or
in the show?
I can try. The Arteta, Arteta is going, come, I need you to come down. It's like a passionate thing, and it all feels good in the moment. But in particular for the big teams, when it goes wrong. What is a new era here? And I know people have been using it, but it's like it is so prominent now. There is so much footage. There's watch-alongs of Arsenal fans thinking they're getting a penalty from VAR. And
Mate,
then
that was crazy, by the way, because I did a watch-along as well for the club. And I'm watching it and going, they've given a penalty. Because literally 2 minutes, we're talking about the VAR. 2 minutes before, Saka's gone down. Miles sitting next to Miles. Miles goes, that's a penalty. And I'm like, that ain't a penalty. And myself, I'm going, fuck no, that won't be a penalty. That might be a penalty, right? The game plays on, and they do this interesting thing in Europe is that you don't know what's happening, and then suddenly the ref will go, blow the whistle, and you like it because it doesn't interrupt the game. They do the work behind the scenes. I appreciate there's issues with if you score a goal or something happens, but genuinely, so I'm like, Hakimi's gone up. I think it was Hakimi down the left, hits a shot. Hits Skelly's hand, but I didn't see that. Or I'm in my brain, I'm thinking about the dive, and I'm like, "Oh my god, he's going to give Arsenal a penalty." And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then he's looking at it, and he goes, and then it cuts to a slow mo in the Arsenal box, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's giving a penalty against Arsenal! This is incredible!"
Which was like that.
Was it harsh?
Of course, it was hard. It was embarrassing.
Mate, I had to look if it stops the ball.
Handball rules a mess. It's such a mess. I have no clue what it is at all.
Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, I can't remember.
So I think, look, there's lots of normal Arsenal fans out there that see Anne Hathaway singing North London Forever and go, please.
I do not envy, right? I get the yeah.
And you can't do anything about that. And it's just there's a high concentration of famous knobheads that follow the football club that you can't do anything about.
Do you know what? We should do a tier list of
famous knobheads.
Famous cringe.
Well, we can do one for Arsenal now, right? So you've got number one knobhead who supports Arsenal, Osama bin Laden. He's got to be number one.
What?
Osama bin Laden.
He's an Arsenal fan, is he?
Did you not know that, James?
Was an Arsenal fan.
Right, well, yeah, was an Arsenal fan. He was their number one Arsenal fan, yeah.
He's number one. Was
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if he said to me, I'm number one, I'd go, nod.
Okay, so you got Osama bin Laden, number one. 2, Keir Starmer.
Rob Denner. Starmer?
Starmer. 3, let's give Jeremy Corbyn. He's an Arsenal fan.
Yep.
And,
I don't mind Corbyn.
Osama bin Laden, and who is it? Joseph Fritzl, Arsenal fan.
Shut up.
I swear to God, there's pictures of him in Arsenal shirt.
And maybe just above.
And Hathaway 5. In the chat. Oh yeah, Piers Morgan,
Donald Trump's son.
Number 6, all-time Arsenal fan, Donald Trump's son. Sorry, number 7. Who else we got? This is fantastic.
So this is a great new bit. And actually,
top 10 worst fans.
This is a comment that's from someone the other day.
Come on, that's too much, boys.
Someone's saying the amount of times. Where is it? The amount of times James says, "Oh, this would be a good new bit," and then we never see it again.
Yeah, I think top 10 worst fans.
Top 10 worst fans of each club. Should we do Tottenham next week?
Yeah, you can do Tottenham.
Okay, so or you can. Yeah, Arsenal's pretty solid there, but I think we should definitely do a reaction video reacting to the most cringeworthy football moments. But yeah, I just find it amazing that because everything has to be a video now. Be it right, like Trent going right. I was having this debate with someone yesterday. Something chat about. So KDB just did apparently a statement. Right, I'm off. Right,
I saw it. Yeah.
Trent and Vardy, they've done the can we get you sitting? No, don't sit down. Should I sit here? No. Stay out there. And when I say go, sit down and then read the first line, right? They've obviously got to read this bit from this statement that they've got, right? And their eyes are just they're not blinking.
Did Harry Kane
I've decided to leave.
I think Harry Kane's was just a tweet. Cheers, thanks for everything. Ruining my career.
But this is the point, right? Everything has to be a video now, right? And so the problem with that is that those videos still exist. So it then can get spun the way, my Twitter timeline is just full. Everyone's just got this bank of footage ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. This is it. I mean,
so what are you supposed? If you're just a normal Arsenal fan who bloody loves their team, hopes to do well, is disappointed that they haven't done well. They have to just go through this sewage of like humiliation for like 2-3 days.
Yeah, I mean, I would say.
Is there cameras at your thing today?
Nah.
Be careful.
Mate, we're different. We operate in a different way. All right? There may be videos of people singing, but we're not going to stick cameras on a bunch of Spurs fans in front of the screen and then put it out on the internet for everyone to laugh at. Robert Mugabe was definitely a Arsenal fan.
Yeah. Mazat E. I hate our online support. Cringeworthy. Obviously, it's not like, and it's not everyone, is it? This is the problem. That like the selective few. But like, there'll be Spurs. This is a problem as well. If you are a Spurs channel and you do watch-alongs because it's a good business, and you're trying to have a career, blah blah blah, you're going to get clipped up like that,
and everyone loves him.
Yeah,
because he's funny.
That's true.
Yeah. Did you see it when he was? He decided to just join the PSG supporters in Arsenal as they were walking to the ground and him celebrating. The geezer is shameless. It's so funny. And then he put a poster, a picture of him in a PSG with "We did it." Oh, it doesn't even make sense. It's like yes,
so funny,
yes, did it. We did it, fam. I love him so much.
Jack the Ripper was an Arsenal fan. John Burko, Starling. You know that?
There's no world where Arteta is impacted, his job safety is impacted at all by this, is there?
Do you know what? Again, this is what's so funny now is like, so he said we were so close. He was so close and scoreline wasn't a fair reflection. And I was like, I think that's absolutely true. But I know that people are going to pick that apart. The one where I'm like, a couple of comments where I'm like, oh, well, I'm not sure you should say that. He said, we've been the best team in the competition.
Yeah, I mean, don't say stuff like that. Say that you were the best team in this and we feel aggrieved to go out. No one's going to blame me for saying that.
Yeah, because he does say a lot of the right things, whereas like, look, we'll reflect on it tomorrow, blah, 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 all the good bits. And it's the trick, like, Donnarumma, like, outrageous saves. And another day, it's completely different. Because if Declan Rice scores that goal after 2 minutes, the header...
Mate,
then it's the whole game state. And going into it, I was chatting to Troy Dean about this, and I was like, the first goal is just everything, especially after Inter Milan the day before. It could have been so different. I'm flip-flopping it.
The thing about this is that without Donnarumma, PSG would probably been out of this competition. I think Villa probably would have beaten them in the second leg.
PSG have crushed English football, haven't they? Man City in the group stages.
Well, that's what Luis Enrique said. He goes, it's the Farmers League, isn't it? But look what I said. Hang on a second.
That's good.
No.
He's allowed it.
No, he's definitely allowed it. It's weird as well because he sounds like his accent. It's like he's.
That's great.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
Careful.
He's just. Yes, just leave it. But he's just like he's just an honest.
Trying to save it. Let's move on. Spurs though tonight. Be fine, wouldn't it? Great. What a result to. The score was, of course...
It was Spurs 3, Buda Glimpton 2.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a ding-dong.
What's a perfect social for you tonight?
4-0 Spurs.
Yeah, just get it done.
Yeah.
Just relax and be happy.
Yeah, for sure.
And it should be, again, we don't know, of course, the second, but it should be a Tottenham Man United final. And someone made a comment actually to me, and rightly so. I should be getting abused. Clip me up. Chuck it out there. No. I said it was impossible for Man United to win this, but you've got to go like name on the trophy because as bad as they've been, somehow they're just going to get past Bilbao like super easily.
I don't know. I think even that's going to throw up some.
But apparently they've got a couple, like some of the top players are not even going to be.
What, Bilbao?
Yeah, because they won a athletic club. No, they get annoyed about that.
Right.
Because they want to focus on Champions League in the league. So yeah, United.
Isn't that mind games? They'll definitely go for this.
You'd imagine they'd have a little go at it. Imagine if either of you guys go out. Is that recoverable? I think at Ange it feels like he's absolutely got to win it. Amorim less so. But do you think, is there a sea change if Amorim goes out tonight? Again,
against him.
Should be happening. Yeah. You know, there's a moment, like, I think in any manager's tenure, there's a moment where it's like, yeah, once that happened, it was kind of...
Do you think it's kind of like, it's a big job?
United? Yeah. you know what I described it as yesterday?
It's that kind of conversation. Now it's not like having a go at him. You're just gone like, it is a big job.
Yeah. I also think that
How does he manage all of the moving parts of a guy who does have no experience in doing it?
I described it I was in a taxi yesterday. I was chatting to the guy and he's a Man United fan, and I said it just like came into my head. You know when you'd have headphones before, they'd have the wire and that, right? Like the old headphones, right? And you sort of just put them in your pocket or your bag or something, and then and they were fine. Or even you just go, you do this, you go, nice and neat, put that in, like best intentions.
Yeah.
Put it in your pocket, and then you bring it out, and it was like that.
Yeah.
That's Man United. Man United have the best intentions time and time again. And every time there's a new manager, every single one of us, or the bulk of us, go, no, I think this is the guy.
Yeah, he'll untangle that.
I think, he'll be able to untangle that.
Yeah.
But, because it's funny, everyone's kind of gone, right, Amorim, okay, now you're kind of fixing it, right? But I see, unless you give him 5 years, I see the same problems because you've gone from 4-2-3-1. You've now got a manager who has not really improved it, and I appreciate the squad is bad, really bad. But you are going to go down a road this summer where you're going to buy a lot of players that suit a very particular formation, and if it gets to November and there's still 17th. Let's be honest. All the conversations are going to happen there, and you've got someone Ratcliffe who I think is ruthless when he wants to be. I think we've seen it already.
Yeah.
When he wants to be. And then you're going to it's going to get even more tangled because you're going to bring in a new manager who probably plays 4-3-3, and you've got Dorgu, who's not bad, but he's a wing back.
We thought that we had the same conversation, to be fair, when Conte was sacked, because Porro and Udogie were brought in to play in a 3-4-3. And as wing backs, and Postecoglou, I don't know if he did this successfully, but has forced them to play as fullbacks, and they look relatively comfortable. They're much more happy going forward than they are going backwards. But no, I agree with you, and that's what it is. It's like a gamble. So it's as interesting.
You've just got to utterly commit to it. But this is what I keep thinking. I said this before, where if you have if you're in this period where don't really worry about the league, it's fine because we're figuring it out. But if it's rubbish, you lose so much goodwill. And I don't know if I said this on camera or not, but if those stats where you go, we don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It's a new season. We've got some new players in. It's fine. If things go wrong for the first 3 months of the season, these stats will be taken into account.
Yeah, they will. They will start dragging on since.
Yeah, you go since
Christmas.
This calendar year. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. So I worry for him.
I did a podcast with a gentleman who was talking. He's very much Levy in still, which is going against the grain. Most people have turned on him, as you know. And he was saying, what you've got to think about in football is there are absolutely no guarantees that anything will work. So what everybody is doing is they're placing bets, constantly placing bets, right? With a market that's shifting constantly. And so sometimes those bets don't pay off. And the clubs who can place bigger wages get a bigger reward. And so what's happened, and some people who understand the market can have a better chance of something working out. And Ndombele was a big bet for Spurs. It didn't work out, right? We crashed out on that, and it cost us a fortune. And it stopped how we were able to operate and make these small bets. So buying a right back from Portugal is a bet. Bringing Postecoglou in from Scotland is a bet.
Yeah.
And so being so critical of a single person in a game which is so difficult to predict and control is actually quite foolhardy.
Yeah, but it's football, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what it's like. There's the figurehead,
and that's the glory of it. You don't want it to be. You don't want to be you want it to 1-0. I don't know why.
But yeah, you're right. He'll get the glory of being. All these managers are supposedly geniuses, aren't they? Obviously they are incredibly intelligent, but you're right. There's so many other bits at play.
It's chaos, really.
Conor O'Reilly pleads with us. He says, guys, please stop fixating on the 3-4-3 discussion. Teams all change shape throughout games. It's not as deep as everyone is making out.
You fucking shut your mouth, Conor. How about that? What's it got to do with you? Okay?
Sorry. Rob Turner says, this calendar year will be the words on Amorim's gravestone. Will he make it into 2026, Amarim?
No.
Do you think?
Yeah.
It's just mad. It's like I think they've got themselves into a corner where this is what I mean. Like, what is the pressure point? When's the tipping point of like, no, we have to stick with this guy, and no, this noise is too deafening. Like, he's got to go. Like, that will be the moment where
it'll be early next season. If early next season starts poorly, like if somehow Spurs win the Europa League, I don't know, and we could well be out of it by the time you watch this. But if there is a world where Ange Postecoglou keeps his job, he's gone by November, regardless.
Yeah. Well, unless something turns around. Actually, I was chatting to someone about a Leeds fan about Farke. Like, there's been rumours that he's going to get, you're going to sack him. Yeah, and he was like, apparently they're going to back him now. And I'm like, that is
back him. He's just won you the league.
And, and then these leaks come out. So that's the thing. I was like, so once a story comes out, you have to sack him now, because if he loses 5 games on the spin, or Leeds don't start well, people are going to go. He's going to go anyway, and then you've got a new manager who's not been able to have that pre-season.
That's not about Farke. That's about so many different things. One, including the massive gap between the two leagues. It's because your board have decided not to gamble on staying in the division and hope to stay in the division. So if you look at the example that Forest, for example, came in and they went, "We are staying in this division. We are signing 24 players."
Well, they took that bet, and it was a big gamble, wasn't it? And it did work.
We are signing 24 players, right? We are going to give Nuno Steve Cooper, everything he needs. And then when it went wrong, they brought in the right manager. They made the right decisions, right? They made the right bets, and they paid off for Forest.
Yeah.
So if that gap between the Championship and the Premier League is so great as everyone's saying, and that it's never been as far apart, then you have to make a decision as Leeds. Are we going to make these bets that give us the best chance, right? And they may not pay off anyway. It's nothing to do with Farke. So the fact that they're going, we should sack him because by October, November we'll probably have to anyway. There are people generally going that's more big time for Leeds to sack the manager that got. We are moving into very sickly, uncomfortable areas where you can win the league and lose your job.
Yeah,
like that's a problem with the game. That can't.
But yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? You've got 2 managers there in Parker and Farke.
Yeah,
and they've both got 100 points.
Yeah,
and I think if you asked, we asked 100 football fans, will these 2 be in their jobs at the start of 2026? I think most people go, probably not.
Who lasts longer?
Leeds are a lot better than Burnley, in my opinion. And that's a Burnley team that's thumped us 5-0. But Burnley have got a much better... I guess it depends on what's more important in the Premier League and the additions that come with it. But Burnley's defence is a joke. I don't think they've conceded more than 1 goal this season.
That's right. They've only lost 2 games all season and conceded, was it 15 in total?
Yeah.
Was it 17?
Outrageous, right? But they've lost the league on goal difference by some way because Leeds can score more goals. So the question would be, to stay up in the Premier League, what's more important, an outrageous defence or an outrageous attack?
I think you've seen... it depends how you go about it, but I think an outrageous defence is probably more...
I think you might be right. It could give you a chance, actually. But Leeds are all round a better... they're sort of like Fulham in previous seasons, like those dominant teams that have gone up. They are right up there, and the group of players are much younger than, say, like a Leicester last year. I think Burnley and Leeds are probably certainly better equipped than Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton were going in this year.
Do you remember what Parker said about Bournemouth when he took them up?
He needed players.
Yeah, and then he left, and Gary O'Neill kept them up. Right? What's to say? What's different about Burnley?
I think the one thing you would say is that they had a young group, went up, stuck with that young group, drowned, and then that same group's kind of still together. So a bit like a Bournemouth that kind of went down and had young players, or Fulham that had a lot of young players, went down, stuck together, came back up, and then they were kind of ready and men now. That might be the case, both with Leeds as well. Actually,
they need but you would imagine Burnley would need to sign players, forward players that can damage and do a decent work. Yeah,
but you've got Ipswich have got exciting attacking players. Delap and Ciso and.
Should we just do 2 minutes of QPR?
Huh?
Should we do 2 minutes?
If we must.
I don't know what's happening. What you tell me?
We got a manager and gardening leave.
Yeah, seen that.
Someone
said in the chat that you might the Plymouth Argyle manager's been linked to QPR.
I don't hate it,
mate. I love that.
Yeah,
he can talk.
Yeah, boy can talk. Yeah, I would love that.
Didn't Plymouth Argyle since he came in do sort of alright?
Yeah, it did really well. Kind of going to run out of games more than anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Went on a really good run. They were lucky, but it'd be lovely to pinch him off you, Jasper. The gardening leave thing. I'm so disappointed that the world knows he's on gardening leave, because
you're not
get to the end of the season and then you might get some compensation.
What's the breakdown? What's happened?
I don't know. I don't know if they just wanted to get rid, or he think. I don't.
Well, you surely can make a couple of calls and find out. You're big time.
Yeah, but
so you know the players. You know players for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
just go to the gym.
No, Sean Walsh is the biggest QPR fan. Yeah. I don't know. Thing is, it's like it's funny. My feeling with these things is like, well, it's done now.
Yeah,
I'm gutted he's gone. I think he's. I got a bit of, not hate, but like people fairly disagree with me. Where I was like, he is an exceptional manager. I used the word exceptional, and we finished 15th.
Yeah,
but like there's circumstances,
relative,
right?
Yeah.
And people are like, come on, like exceptional, like fair enough if you disagree with that. I think it's absolutely valid for you to do that. I just do think he's a really, really, really good manager, and I'll be absolutely.
Since the start,
I'll be astounded if he doesn't become a Premier League manager. I think he's aware of his stock.
Yeah,
and I think we need to be smarter about understanding that if the Premier League's the final destination for everyone involved in our club, and so if we're not there yet and he's got to skip before us, or players. Like if they're ready to go to the Premier League and we get money for them, sweet. Like that. What's annoyed me is that he's on gardening leave, so now it's all a bit of a mess, and we're probably not going to get anything out of him moving on. So that's poor.
But he's under contract. It's just your how much bargaining positions do you have?
Yeah, because he's like there's more chance of me being a manager than exactly.
He's out. Yeah. What I've been thinking about a fair bit this week is when we went to QPR.
Do you think about it a lot?
I do, man. I do.
Yeah.
When we went to QPR. But we were watching QPR versus Coventry, and Coventry were 17th at the time. You were second bottom.
Lamps had just come in,
just terrible.
They do well now.
And now look at them,
mate. It's on.
It is on.
I think they'll.
Who'll go up, James?
My predictions. And by the way, I'm doing a mini league for the playoffs. If people want to get involved, we've got 3 game weeks. It's just like a nice little tight thing. So if you love watching the playoffs, I'll put a link in the description for you guys. Got a mini league with me and the guys from Not the Top 20 podcast, and we've done a podcast talking about our picks.
Is this branded content?
It's not. It's just a quick plug. But I actually think that I think Sheffield United will go up again.
No, because they've lost their momentum. The guys that finished third, who put everything into trying to get up, to go again in that. Let's not call it a competition. Let's just say, an extension to the league season.
Sure.
If
you must. You asked me a question. My answer is,
okay.
I think Sheffield United, because I've seen it with QPR, where like you do end badly, and their run of games, one, it was like the league season kind of gone. Yes, their form has dipped, but I think in a couple of cup games, when you've got the squad that they've got, their squad is clearly the best.
Yeah.
And I think it might be just enough. I think it'll be them and Coventry in the final, would be my prediction, though.
Yeah.
Sunderland. I think once you're in the play, you're in the playoffs. It's so hard to like keep
the momentum.
Yeah, it's a bit like you in the league.
Yeah.
Right, top comments. Yeah, this made me laugh. Jay Bale, the small section at the end from the discussion at 53:30 to 56 about Palace in the FA Cup, to no longer than 30 seconds later talking about being a closeted fan of curling, and then another minute later or so, James talking about how he had to change his sandwiches in his lunch to cheese and crackers, just sums this podcast up so well. If someone was to ask me to show them a short clip to represent this podcast, that would be it.
Yeah.
We've got some closet bits and pieces. There was a lot of comments, Flav, about us touching on accents again. So just to be clear,
about it?
Well, we're just saying one, we were saying if you're American, really you shouldn't be choosing Man City to.
Yeah, that's fair, isn't it? Oh no, the whole conversation was about that. There's lots of. I dipped in on that. This is.
But we're talking about Sam, weren't we?
Yeah,
being like
Sam,
a Southern Man United fan is the accents are a problem. One bit I've got an idea for. Let us know. Are you an Impossible fan? Are you a fan who's from the wrong place? Is the right? I don't know. It just has the wrong ingredients to be a fan of a certain team.
Who was the example? Have you got it?
Yeah, I've got. Sorry,
that was the greatest example.
So hang on, I'll get there because we did the comments quick. Quickly. All right, here we go. I can't find his name. Look on the screenshot. It just says powered by vidIQ. I can't remember what your name is, mate, but you'll know who you are. As an English Celtic supporter, I literally get shit from both sides all the time.
I did a podcast with a guy who was telling me all about Matis Tell before he signed for Spurs, and he was from.
Is he good, Matis Tell? I think he'll come good.
I think, yeah. I mean, you forget how young he is.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
He's got the mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to lend badly though? He'll do well, but lend badly.
And then they'll go on and win multiple trophies at another football club, obviously.
Indeed.
He was from Edinburgh, but supported Liverpool.
Tough.
Yeah, I was like, why?
Right.
Like, you've got Rangers and Celtic, or you've got Hearts. You know, follow that club. And he's like, no, my dad was a Liverpool fan, so I'm Liverpool. But you're Scottish. Yeah.
But that's the stuff, isn't it? Like, if you've got a different sound. It's tricky. Keegan says, I'm an American Spurs fan. I grew up watching the Prem with my dad, but didn't support any team in particular. I stopped watching for years and then randomly turned on Spurs versus Ajax.
All right.
Destiny. Lucas Moura's hat-trick made me fall in love with the game again. I've been sad ever since.
Yeah, fair. 6 years to the day. To this day.
Really? Yeah. Will you need it again?
Or maybe that was yesterday.
Someone saying Frankie de Jong's had to deal with the Lucas Moura game and the Inter Milan game.
What do you mean?
Like in terms of thinking you're going to go through iconic semi-final, Champions League semi-finals.
Oh, of course, yeah.
He's never played in the Champions League final, has he?
Yeah, I'm sure £600,000 a week sort of sweetens that, but yeah.
Don't be that guy. Flav is on the Mount Rushmore of rage bait. Who else do you reckon deserves the other 3 places? Boovie has to be up there.
I'm not. What are you on about? I'm not. Boovie's game is there for sure, but I'm not around here trying to wind anybody up.
Who would be on the Mount Rushmore of rage bait? I think Boovie. I don't see it. I don't see the rage bait with Boovie. Because the little smile he does.
What
I love it.
Hang on, I've been accused of something here. What? In what way am I? Do you agree with that?
I think the point here is is rage bait? Who's falling for it? Because you got to get up pretty early.
I don't know what it means.
See it coming. Rage bait is just like you said that Arteta is a dickhead, as are every Arsenal player. That's rage bait.
No, that's not rage bait.
Is it not?
No, I don't think so. That's too much. It's too obvious, right?
Okay, what's rage bait then?
I don't know.
Let us know then. Rory, a lot of people saying. I think, yes. So I guess there's one if you know you're doing it. When Rory talks about Spurs, I think he's enjoying it. He's excited about it.
Yeah.
He also knows what he's doing as well. So I can see that, and I think that's part of the fun. I feel like that's kind of the same vibe with you. And Boovie as well. But what about are there rage baiters that don't think they're rage baiting? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think... I'm worried that people think that I'm not completely serious with everything I say.
Yeah. Flav, you're a master. No? Stoke thing. The Stoke thing, yeah.
What Stoke?
So I'm saying Arsenal like Stoke.
I'm not... Everyone's saying that. Are they not like Stoke? If you gave Pulis £800 million... What is this? That's what we're seeing, right?
It's okay. Is it possibly? Is that because he wants to play that way, or because he feels like he has to play that way to win? If you've got all these big lads and you're playing against PSG and you don't feel like you can break them down, you want to take every advantage.
Of course.
And Nicholas, what's his name? Is in your ear whispering. A couple of set pieces. We chuck in long throws. So maybe chucks that on his bonus, doesn't he? If they score from a, do you think he's got a bonus if they score from a set piece?
Probably. Yeah. James, you're mistaking this, right? I think it's incredible that they're willing to go to these lengths to win a football match.
Bevan thinks I think you're rage baiting right now.
I'm not. I'm just saying to you, if it's look, PSG want to win the competition playing the right way, right? What is the right way? Who knows? Arteta is willing to play a game another way but it's about winning. He is so desired. He is so. This is it. This is it with Arteta, and this is why you need to keep him. He's so obsessed with winning that he would do anything, no matter how much it stings, to win.
Yeah. I think the problem with saving long throws was like
honestly, when Partey was doing this with the ball, you're looking at it and you're going, "That's Rory the Laps." It's Rory the Laps, just not quite as good.
I think the problem with that that's a good tactic. No one thought you'd have 5 in the first 13 minutes. That's the thing, isn't it?
And just think, if it's your own team, would you want to see it? Like, if it's an advantage, would you want them to do it?
If it's an advantage,
yeah. But
big lads,
but the reality is, it stopped being an advantage about 6 months ago. That's the problem. They're still doing it.
Knowledge is power, maybe. Yeah. Let's know your Mount Rushmore of rage bait then, guys. Rex Mentala says, seeing the happy, confident faces of Tottenham fans after the first leg is almost amusing. They have no idea what's coming their way next week in Bordeaux.
Yeah, I think we all do deep down. Or did.
C. Aguirre 50 says, I finally feel like it's my time to shine. As an American fan of this channel, I will lend my opinion to when a British person comments on basketball or the NFL. Fascinating to get your take here, Flav. I genuinely like it. I get excited that there's fans abroad. It's really awesome. Maybe it's because I'm an American Prem fan, but that's my take on it anyway. I picked Liverpool for my club because I loved their heavy metal football under Klopp, and their attacking style was so fun to watch.
Yeah, right. No, you picked Liverpool. Actually, do you know what I mean? Liverpool's not a bad pick, but you might have looked a little bit about like the Champions Leagues that they've won, and it's 19 league titles that they've won. Maybe that swayed you a little bit, or was it just the football you fell in love with? Was it?
I think if you are like new to the sport, Liverpool makes a lot of sense. But again, you are kind of doing the same thing as Man City, you know?
Yeah. If it does it not show you the integrity of a man if he takes a step back and goes, "Hang on a minute, what am I doing here?"
Yeah, that's why I go be an Everton fan. Do you know what I mean? Take the pain.
Yes.
Want the pain.
Yeah. You shouldn't. I mean, really looking into the Premier League, if you're choosing a team that's...
If you're choosing a Premier team today, can't be Spurs, who would it be?
Instinctively, without thinking, it popped into my head, West Ham.
Right.
Not because of... There is a rivalry between West Ham, it makes that a little bit unpalatable, but they're a real football club, followed by real people. And to me, growing up, they're the closest to us as Spurs as a fan base in terms of the breakdown of their...
What you want is you want space to like reach the summit, but also
why are Manchester City
an earthiness?
Why are Manchester City not filling out their allocation for a semi-final? No, I'm not attacking them. I'm not attacking them. I'm saying they're not filling out their allocation because they've been there so many times and it's so expensive. But the money's only a certain part of it. It's because they're getting bored of seeing semi-finals at Wembley. That's the reality. It means nothing to them because they've done it 26 times in 10 years or whatever it is. Do you think West Ham or any other football club wouldn't have sold that out?
The thing as well now is like all these clubs that are being successful all generally have something in common. The owners are impressive. Yeah. So like for it to be this like little team just going on a journey, it's hard to find that, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Anyway. But fair enough. Where is it? Americans who support Man City or choose Man United years ago when they were good are the same as Brits who support the Patriots when Tom Brady was quarterback. I'm not having it. 158 likes on that. That's why I read it out. 22 replies.
Yeah.
But this is interesting. J Tevo. Hello, mate. J Tevo's a proper OG, mate. Big fan bases occur because of glory hunting fans. Real Madrid aren't what they are because Madrid is the most populated city on earth. Liverpool aren't massive because every fan's dad is from Merseyside. It's always been this way, so I've never really had an issue with it. You just have to respect a Rotherham fan for sticking with it a little more.
Yeah, that's good.
American sports culture is bizarre, said Celtic 69. They'll often change teams to support a player and follow their career. I've seen it a lot of Mavs fans switch to the Lakers in the past few months.
Well, I don't know his name is Luka.
Yeah, Luka Doncic. The trade, and it's not ridiculed, but rather celebrated.
I don't know. That makes zero sense to me. That sort of.
I think if you're Serbian,
then
you can appreciate the move. Like McTominay and Billy Gilmore went to Napoli, so I'm kind of like,
yeah,
come on, Napoli.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, no, I agree with you. What's that? Because you're part Scottish.
Yeah, because I'm Scottish.
What are you?
I
You're
don't know.
Scottish or English?
It's giving me a reason, isn't it?
So you're a little bit Scottish in that moment.
And I like the kit.
Yeah, fair. I like Napoli because I've got a mate who lives there, and that's it. So I look out for Napoli fans, Napoli results. But doesn't matter.
Okay. Edward Baker says, I'm all for Brexit football supporting. I don't like Brexit, but I'm all for Brexit football supporting. Crucial.
Yeah.
Ground should stop you at the gates and do a full background or postcode check to ensure you are worthy of supporting the club. Wrong accent means you instantly need justification to come in. Questions like, where was your dad born? Or how long have you lived here? Should be integral to your club's fan base. Basically, you need to understand the city to support the club.
Well, is it? Can I ask you a question? I don't know what the answer is. I'm just asking the people. So the final game at Goodison Park.
Yes.
Right, and you got someone who supported Everton through the years but doesn't live there. Right, and then there's people that have been going to Everton for decades, right?
Yeah.
If you have the money, is it right that you get in, or should the people that have been going to Goodison Park through the decades have first refusal? I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah,
I'm just asking the people what they think.
I think it's complicated, isn't it? Because you kind of see that with. I was thinking about this myself the other day. I was like, oh, do you know what'd be cool? It'd be cool to go to the Champions League final. But then I thought about like the Euros final and like all these finals now. Like there's, when you like working what we're working, there is an opportunity to know someone who knows someone who can
find
get
a way.
Yeah, to get you kind of a ticket. Like it's almost a shame that that's possible now. Like,
well,
and I'm not judging anyone for you want to go to great games. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
But that's more that's more of an issue about how the game has changed and how the kind of money that's gone into it. For the FA Cup semi-final, there are 7,000 less tickets for Palace fans than there were in the semi-final.
So for the final to the semi-final.
Yeah, so in the final they have to find, and that, and they're going somewhere. And generally it's partners, it's money generation, it might be influencers, whatever it is, and it's a shame, but it's just the way the game is.
Indeed. Yeah. Ibn Griff, this is Closet Fans. I'm a closet fan of tomatoes on burgers. I'm obsessed with tomatoes and see nothing wrong with getting a nice juicy slice of tomato on a crispy smoky burger. I don't see what everyone's moaning about. Yeah, if there's not a tomato in the burger, I can live with it. But if it's in there, I'm okay with it as well. Problem is it slides out sometimes. Some tomatoes anyway.
Is this all closet fans of foods?
Of different, it's kind of becoming that. But right. Keep getting your closet fans of different things.
Mine isn't foods.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you yours, yeah. Florist Matt says, this is half closet fan, half chef's tip. He's a chef, I think. Cheddar cheese and sliced red raw onion. It's like an orgasmically intense cheese and onion crisp.
That sounds good.
Angelo Tirana, I'm a closeted football fan. Full stop. I'm growing up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I was never surrounded by fans of the sport. I began supporting Arsenal because KSI posted a video freaking out about Van Persie going to United, and I thought, that's Manchester United. I want to be part of that. I've been through the thick. Now that it's a bit thinner, that was confusing me, isn't it? I'm trying to get my friends into football.
No,
yeah,
it right.
I know. Because, but it's not how I see it.
Yeah, but you're wrong.
Because I consume so much content such as this show. One thing I can't shake is the fact that when I speak about football, I have to fight the urge to use a British accent.
So that reminds me instantly of Sam Peoples, because he used to go to, do you remember us having this conversation? So Palace were playing, United were playing at Palace. He lived back then in Crystal Palace. So he's literally travelled 500 yards to go in there, full of Manchester United fans. And when they
this will get sent to him, by the way.
Yeah, good. So it should. I've called him out. And when they go, United, I'm like, I said, Sam, do you put on a Manc accent when you're in there? And he went, yeah, I do.
You would, wouldn't you?
Of course you would.
Like it would be so jarring, wouldn't it? If you go, United. Yeah. I mean, that's a problem I don't have to deal with. Mm-hmm. I just dial up the Cockney. It's just fine. Cockney Allcott on it. Anyway, saying something like Bukayo Saka in my typical American accent sounds horrible to me. I must sound insane flip-flopping between jargons as I struggle to explain that. No, Ronaldo's team don't play in the Man City League, and that the US national don't play in the Champions League. some of the problems he has to deal with. Angelo, hang in there. That's a problem I don't have to deal with. I think if I spent long enough in America, there'd be a twang.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the West Country, and apparently it's going.
When I was in Sheffield, I lived in Sheffield for years. I say bastard instead of bastard.
Yeah, and it's just with your missus and that. It's just Doritos. Do you want some potatoes with those Doritos?
What are your closet fan of?
Tina Turner. Don't you actually do it for you?
Sexy?
Yeah, she's right. And even when she was in her 70s, I'd be like,
they said something there. Yeah. She's great legs,
and
great pins. Yeah. Yeah, she sort of walked like that, didn't she? I don't want another hero. Oh yeah, there was a lot of that, wasn't it? It was like sort of struggling with it, wasn't she? Yeah. Do you know what? Her and Tina Turner in the 60s. Wow. Sensational.
Yeah. But I remember because she looks like, when I was a kid, I was like, she looked like my nan. But I was like, I don't know. She looked like my nan a bit. And but like obviously.
White.
Black.
Yeah.
Like a black nan. Black Joyce.
Yeah. Do you know, I want to do that all the time. I want to say like that black person looks like, he's got a face like this white person. In terms of like, no, the eyes or whatever it might be. Yeah, but you can't say it because they're black. That seems unfair. Just a thought.
Just let it go.
Yeah, but it's not about whatever. Where are you? No, yeah, that's it. And that is bloody it.
That is good.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop the record button, but we're going to stay here to do some mailbagging.